Somewhere in Canada tonight, a woman in Mississauga is leaning back over the edge of her tub, working a handful of lather through her hair before bed, the way she has every other night for 30 years. In Calgary, a man rinses a drugstore conditioner out under a hot shower, the same purple and white bottle he's bought on autopilot since university. In Halifax, in Surrey, in Montreal, the last thing millions of Canadians do before they towel off is pour something out of a plastic bottle and rub it straight into their scalp. Canadians spend roughly $2 billion a year on hair care. Shampoo and conditioner are the two products almost every single person in this country uses, most of them several times a week, for their entire lives. The scalp is skin, with hair follicles, oil glands, and one of the richest blood supplies in the body. And we treat the stuff we pour onto it as an afterthought. But here's what nobody is telling Canadians. On the 5th of March, 2025, the Government of Canada published its final State of PFAS report and concluded that the entire class of forever chemicals, excluding fluoropolymers, is toxic to human health and the environment. The government's own risk management plan named cosmetics as a Phase 2 priority for restriction. That restriction is still pending, and this is not theory. On the 2nd of February 2026, after a guilty plea in an Ontario court, Environment and Climate Change Canada announced that Estée Lauder Cosmetics had been fined $750,000 for selling products containing an undeclared forever chemical to Canadians. Meanwhile, the same corporate families that have spent the last 5 years settling lawsuits and quietly reformulating their hair products are still selling tens of millions of bottles a year on Canadian shelves. 7 brands exposed. 3 Canadian brands worth your money. And one of these 7 is the subject of an active class action lawsuit over hair loss. That story is coming at brand number 3. Don't skip ahead. This is the True North shelf, where the labels get read so the truth gets told. Let's dive in. Before getting into the brands, 2 things every Canadian needs to understand about what's happening on the shampoo aisle. First, shampoo gets rinsed out. Conditioner does not really. A conditioner is designed to cling, to coat the hair shaft and stay on the scalp longer, and a leave-in stays on all day. So when people say, it's just shampoo, it washes off, they are only half right. The preservatives, the fragrance, the surfactant residue, all of it gets the longest contact through your conditioner, and through every leave-in, you don't rinse at all. Rinse off is the excuse the industry leans on. Conditioner quietly breaks that excuse. Second, the words on the front of the bottle are not regulated the way you think. In Canada, hypoallergenic has no legal definition. Health Canada does not regulate the term. Natural, gentle, salon quality, and dermatologist tested are marketing claims, not chemistry guarantees. A brand can print any of them on the front, while the back of the bottle lists a formaldehyde-releasing preservative. Marketing on the front, chemistry on the back. Keep both points in mind. Brand number 1. And this one sets the bar for the entire category. Head & Shoulders. The blue bottle in every Walmart Canada aisle, every Shoppers Drug Mart, every London Drugs, every Costco Canada multi-pack. For roughly 8 to 15 Canadian dollars, it is one of the best-selling shampoos in the country. And for a lot of Canadians, it has been the family shampoo since childhood. Head & Shoulders is owned by Procter & Gamble, the Cincinnati consumer goods giant behind Tide, Gillette, Pampers, and Old Spice. One of the largest advertising spenders on the planet. Here is the Head & Shoulders Classic Clean formula on its full INCI. Water, then 2 sulfates back to back. Sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium laureth sulfate. Then, much further down the list, 2 preservatives that always travel together. Methylchloroisothiazolinone and methyl isothiazolinone. And the word fragrance. That preservative pair matters. Methyl isothiazolinone was named Contact Allergen of the Year by the American Contact Dermatitis Society back in 2013 after a wave of allergic skin reactions across Europe and North America. It is permitted in rinse-off products like shampoo, but for the millions of Canadians with a sensitive scalp, the anti-dandruff shampoo they reach for to calm an itchy scalp contains one of the most documented contact allergens in modern cosmetics, sitting next to two sulfates and an undeclared fragrance blend. A double sulfate base, a flagged allergen preservative, and fragrance on irritated scalp skin. That is the template for everything wrong with this aisle. Brand number 2 is Dove, and this is where the chemistry gets more serious. Dove markets itself as the gentle one, the moisture brand, the bottle that is supposed to be kinder than the rest. It is on every drugstore and grocery shelf in the country. Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, London Drugs, every Pharmaprix in Quebec, usually 6 to 10 Canadian dollars a bottle. Dove is owned by Unilever, the Anglo-Dutch consumer goods giant behind Hellmann's, Axe, and Vaseline. Now read the Dove Nutritive Solutions Daily Moisture Shampoo on its full INCI. Water, sodium lauryl sulfate, cocamidopropyl betaine, fragrance, and then, down the list, a single ingredient that changes the whole story: DMDM hydantoin. DMDM hydantoin is a formaldehyde-releasing preservative. It works by slowly releasing small amounts of formaldehyde into the product over time to keep it from spoiling. Formaldehyde is classified by international cancer agencies as a known human carcinogen. And the same formula also carries the methylchloroisothiazolinone and methylisothiazolinone pair, and cocamide MEA, a relative of the cocamide DEA that California lists as a carcinogen under its Proposition 65 program. There is also a manufacturing footnote worth knowing. Sodium lauryl sulfate is made through a process called ethoxylation, and that process can leave behind trace amounts of 1,4-dioxane, a contaminant the United States Environmental Protection Agency classifies as a likely human carcinogen. It is not on the label because it is a byproduct, not an ingredient. New York State now caps it at 1 part per million in personal care products. Canada has no equivalent limit. Honest disclosure. This is a contamination risk story, not a guarantee about any specific bottle. But the Gentle Moisture brand is built on an ethoxylated sulfate and a formaldehyde-releasing preservative. Gentle on the front, formaldehyde donor on the back. Brand number 3 is Tresemme, and this one is the lawsuit. Tresemme sells itself as salon hair at drugstore prices. The professional look. It is everywhere. Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, London Drugs, Pharmaprix, usually under 10 Canadian dollars. And it is also owned by Unilever, the same parent as Dove. Here is the part the salon marketing never mentions. Starting in late 2020, Unilever was hit with a nationwide class action lawsuit in North America, alleging that certain Tresemme keratin products, preserved with DMDM hydantoin, were causing hair loss and scalp burns. The plaintiffs alleged Unilever had known since at least 2012 that the formaldehyde-releasing preservative could contribute to hair loss and irritation. Unilever has denied that its products cause hair loss and maintains the ingredient is safe, but the company also announced it would reformulate to remove formaldehyde-releasing preservatives, and the consolidated litigation remained active into 2025. And here is why a conditioner makes this worse. Read the Tresemme Keratin Smooth Conditioner on its full INCI, and you still find DMDM hydantoin, the methylchloroisothiazolinone and methylisothiazolinone pair, parfum, and a cluster of fragrance allergens, limonene, linalool, hexylcinnamol. A conditioner is the leave-on longer product. It is designed to stay on your hair and scalp after the shampoo is rinsed away. So the formaldehyde-releasing preservative and the allergen cluster get the longest contact through exactly the product the brand tells you to leave in. A salon promise on the front, a formaldehyde donor, an allergen preservative pair, and an active lawsuit on the back. Brand number 4 is OGX, and this is the corporate expose. OGX, the argan oil and coconut milk bottles with the clean botanical look, sold at Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, and London Drugs, usually around 10 to 12 Canadian dollars. The whole brand image is nature in a bottle, but OGX is not an independent botanical house. It was created by a Florida company called Vogue International. In 2016, Johnson & Johnson acquired Vogue International for $3.3 billion United States dollars. Then, in 2023, Johnson & Johnson spun its consumer health division into a separate public company called Kenvue, listed on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker KVUE. So OGX is now a Kenvue brand, sharing a corporate family with the talc-based baby powder that Johnson & Johnson spent years and billions of dollars litigating over cancer claims. And OGX has its own legal history. Like Tresemme, OGX shampoos and conditioners were named in hair loss lawsuits tied to DMDM hydantoin. The company announced in 2021 that it would stop producing shampoos and conditioners with that preservative. Honest disclosure: current OGX formulas have largely moved off it, but the botanical brand you reach for to avoid the big chemical companies is owned by one of the biggest, and it sat at the center of the same formaldehyde preservative reckoning as the rest of this list. Nature on the front, a multinational consumer health conglomerate on the back. Quick pause, because this matters. If this investigation is useful to you, the single most important thing you can do right now is subscribe to the True North Shelf. Not just like, subscribe. Here's the honest reason. The algorithm only shows this kind of consumer reporting to other Canadians when enough of you subscribe. A like helps. A subscribe is what actually tells YouTube to put this in front of the next Canadian standing at a drugstore shelf, trying to read a label they can't decode. So hit subscribe, then hit like. The next 3 brands? You almost certainly have one of them in your shower right now. Brand number 5 is Pantene Pro V, the brown bottle, the hair so healthy it shines brand that has been advertised on Canadian television for decades. Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, London Drugs, Costco Canada, usually 6 to 12 Canadian dollars. For a huge number of Canadians, Pantene is simply what shampoo is supposed to look like. Pantene is owned by Procter & Gamble, the same parent as Head & Shoulders, brand number 1 on this list. Read the Pantene Pro V Volume and Body Shampoo on its full INCI, and the very top of the list tells the story. Water, then sodium lauryl sulfate, then sodium laureth sulfate, back to back, the 2 most stripping surfactants in the category stacked together, followed by cocamidopropyl betaine, and, a few lines down, fragrance. The Pro V, the pro vitamin marketing, the talk of healthy shine, all of it sits on top of a double sulfate cleansing base and an undeclared fragrance blend. And because that sulfate is ethoxylated, it carries the same 1,4-dioxane contamination question as every other SLES product on this aisle. A pro-vitamin promise on the front, 2 sulfates and fragrance on the back. Brand number 6 is Aussie, the purple bottles with the kangaroo, Mega Moist, Miracle Moist, the fun, cheap, beachy brand a generation of Canadians grew up using. Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, London Drugs, usually 5 to 9 Canadian dollars. Aussie is also owned by Procter & Gamble. That makes 3 of the 7 brands on this list: Head & Shoulders, Pantene, and Aussie, all from the same Cincinnati parent company. And the formula is the same playbook. Read the Aussie Mega Shampoo on its full INCI, and you find water, sodium lauryl sulfate, sodium laureth sulfate, cocamidopropyl betaine, and further down, the methylchloroisothiazolinone and methylisothiazolinone preservative pair, plus fragrance. So the fun, affordable, eucalyptus-scented bottle is, underneath the marketing, the exact same double sulfate allergen preservative fragrance formula as the serious anti-dandruff brand at number 1. Different bottle, different personality, same company, same chemistry. Brand number 7 is Garnier Fructis, the bright green bottle, the fruit and vitamin imagery, the strength and shine marketing, the brand that leans hardest on the word natural while sitting in the cheapest tier of the drugstore. Shoppers Drug Mart, Walmart Canada, London Drugs, usually 4 to 8 Canadian dollars. Garnier is owned by L'Oréal, the French beauty giant that is the single largest cosmetics company on earth. The green, fruity, natural-looking brand is a line of the world's biggest beauty conglomerate. Read the classic Garnier Fructis shampoos on their full INCI, and you find water, sodium laureth sulfate near the top, cocoa betaine, and parfum. The fruit on the bottle is imagery. The cleansing system is in ethoxylated sulfate, which carries the 1,4-dioxane contamination question, finished with a fragrance blend. Garnier has not been cited in any Canadian regulatory action over Fructis. Honest disclosure. But natural looking and cheap is not the same thing as clean and transparent. And the word natural on a Garnier bottle is marketing, not a regulated claim. That's 7 brands. 3 of them, Head & Shoulders, Pantene, and Aussie from Procter & Gamble. 2, Dove and Tresemme from Unilever, one of them facing an active hair loss lawsuit. 1, OGX, now a Kenvue brand with Johnson & Johnson's talc legacy behind it. And 1, Garnier Fructis from L'Oreal, the biggest cosmetics company on the planet. 7 brands. A pending federal restriction on PFAS in cosmetics. A $750,000 fine already handed to one global cosmetics company for selling Canadians an undeclared forever chemical. Double sulfates, a formaldehyde-releasing preservative, an allergen of the year preservative pair, the 1,4-dioxane contamination question, and fragrance on your scalp and through your leave-in conditioner, several times a week for your whole life. That's the Canadian shampoo aisle in 2026. But good hair care is not actually complicated. A gentle sugar-based or cocoa-based cleanser, a simple conditioning agent, a few plant oils and extracts, a clean preservative system you can pronounce. The complexity on that drugstore shelf is corporate, not chemical. Here are 3 Canadian brands that get it right. All 3 are Canadian-owned. All 3 publish their full ingredient lists, and not one of them hides behind the word natural, while a sulfate and a fragrance blend do the real work. Hero number 1, Attitude. Made in Quebec by a Montreal company called BioSpectra and proudly Canadian-owned. Attitude is one of the most certified clean brands in the country, with products that carry the EWG verified seal, meaning an independent body has reviewed the full formula against a strict ingredient standard. The brand is vegan, certified cruelty-free, and many of its hair care lines are fragrance-free, which removes the single most common cause of cosmetic allergy entirely. Attitude publishes the full INCI on every product, no parfum loophole. You'll find it at Shoppers Drug Mart, Jean Coutu, well.ca, and the brand's own site, usually in the 10 to 15 Canadian dollar range. It's the most accessible clean upgrade on this list, sold in the same drugstores as the brands we just exposed. Hero number 2, Carina Organics. Made by hand on the North Shore of Vancouver, British Columbia, and Canadian-owned since 1972. Carina builds its shampoos and conditioners on plant sugars and saponified coconut oil instead of sulfates, and states plainly that its products are free of sulfates, DEA, propylene glycol, synthetic fragrance, and dyes. Read a Carina shampoo and the list is genuinely readable. Things like capryl glucoside, potassium cocoate, glycerin, pine extract, chamomile, and guar gum. No formaldehyde donor. No allergen preservative pair. No undeclared fragrance. It's sold at well.ca, independent Canadian health stores, and the brand's own site, generally in the 12 to 20 Canadian dollar range. And hero number 3, Green Beaver. Founded in 2002 and family-owned in Hawkesbury, Ontario, Green Beaver is one of the longest-running Canadian natural cosmetics companies, certified vegan and made in Canada. The brand builds its shampoos and conditioners on gentle sugar-based and cocoa-based surfactants like cocoa glucoside, decyl glucoside, and sodium cocoa sulfate, preserved with food-grade systems like levulinic acid and potassium sorbate, and scented, where it is scented at all, with disclosed natural fragrance, rather than an undeclared parfum blend. Green Beaver publishes its full ingredient list openly. You'll find it at well.ca, independent Canadian retailers, and the brand's own website, generally in the 10 to 16 Canadian dollar range. 3 brands, 3 provinces: Quebec, British Columbia, and Ontario. Full ingredient lists you can actually read. Shampoo and conditioner should be among the most honest products in any Canadian bathroom. A gentle cleanser, a simple conditioning agent, a label that tells you the truth. But somewhere between the laboratory and the shopper's drug mart shelf, certain brands found ways to complicate that. 2 sulfates stacked under the word gentle, a formaldehyde donor under the word moisture, an allergen of the year preservative under the word natural, and a botanical brand quietly owned by a multinational conglomerate. 3 questions to ask before any bottle goes onto a Canadian scalp. Is the corporate parent a global conglomerate, or is it a Canadian company that publishes everything? Does the brand list its complete INCI without hiding the fragrance blend behind the single word parfum? And does the shampoo really need the double sulfate, the formaldehyde-releasing preservative, and the undeclared fragrance that came with it? If the label can't answer all 3, put it back. And one last thing. If this helped you read a label tonight, subscribe to the True North Shelf, hit like, and the full source guide for every claim in this video is in the description below. We read the labels so you don't have to. This is the True North Shelf. Stay safe, stay educated. Thanks for watching.